to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's a seasoned realtor with 35 years of experience helping families, investors, and organizations navigate the ever changing real estate market with confidence. None other than Mr. J. Banerjee.
Yes, good to
Welcome,
be here. Thank
welcome,
you. Thank you.
welcome, Mr. J, on Book 101 Review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Absolutely. And once again, thank you for having me on your show, Daniel. You are doing a great job. I appreciate it.
You are most welcome. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. J. Thank you. And today, let's talk about the human side of real estate. Why buying a home is more emotional than financial. Beyond the investment, we are told home is our biggest financial decision. But if it's more emotional, what is the true currency at stake? What are we really investing in?
They're really investing in a sense of confidence that finally they got their first home in Canada. I have, and you know what? I am qualified to share this because in my life, I worked with buyers, now I have listings. I have had hundreds and hundreds of buyers in my vehicle and that of my wife, who's also a broker. And they've said, I have been renting. One person said, I've been renting for over 20 years. My wife said to that person, she said, you realize that you've paid off your your landlord's mortgage? He said, yes, I did. But she says, today I decided on my birthday I'm going to buy a home. And she did. It's about fulfilling either a long-term dream. Doesn't matter whether you were born in this country or you come as an immigrant. Having your own home, people sometimes have tears, fears, and go through all of that. And my role then is to be that calming person in their lives to walk them through it.
Interesting, Mr. J. And the dream home fantasy. Where does our powerful cultural and personal obsession with the dream home originate, and how does this fantasy shape our expectations and our disappointments?
You see, that's a great point because the whole dream home concept is what they know of when they sit with their in their friend's home, when they sit on TV on all those glitzy shows that come on. Now, there's nothing wrong in seeing the shows. We're all about the shows and watching, right? I'm all for that. But when it comes down to me, I have to then turn those dreams and thoughts around into reality and take it back to them to one they can accept based on their qualifying, based on their pocketbook, based on their neighborhood, based on their work, all of those criterias. But then the dream is kept alive. That it doesn't matter whether it is 1600 square feet or 2000 square feet. You're going to own a piece of this land of Canada or America, and that land is your land that no one can evict you from. So help me God.
Mr. J, the psychology of a space. Why do we feel an immediate, almost visceral, this is the one feeling in some houses, while the others that tick every logical box leave us completely cold?
Hmm. I think there are a couple of different aspects to this. When I represent a seller, I tell them to remove their personal things and to make the home warm and comfortable. If someone is buying for their own purpose, then these things are important unless they are an investor. But on the emotional side, I make sure that when I'm selling a house, the home is prepared beautifully. Not every home is for everybody. But when people have a certain style in their mind, a certain kind of home, a certain design, which is very unique to them, they come with that. But what I do is I do my very best to try to get some idea of their image, a big kitchen, a big backyard, etc., etc. Now, 35 years ago, when there was no internet, there was no virtual tours, I had to do a lot of imagination and then show them what I thought is possible. But today, it's very different. I did something very unique when I began my career. I would sit down with my client in my office before driving out in the car. Boom. I would never just go out straight, go show you a house. I would go onto our MLS, click on the pictures, and show them, is this what you're looking for? So the client would be in the driver's seat even before virtual reality and virtual tours were real. And then they would select, maybe in those days, 8, 9 houses. Then I would tell them, you have a dream in mind of how the home's going to look like. I don't want to show you a house where you're going to go and say, I don't want to go in. So take your time, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. Here's the list. Go drive by. And you know what? They'd come back and call and say, I want these three. Or they would call outside and say, Jay, can you come now? I think I found my dream home. So I would actually go through a process allowing people to discover what's ahead of them. I never had to force a sale. Yet in my first 6 months, I was named Rookie of the Year. All of those awards. It was not about the awards. I was able to connect and see the heart of people and allow them to follow their dream. And I was just the guide. I was just the guide. Then when they achieved their dream, as a man of faith, I would pray with them, bless them, rejoice with them, and celebrate their happiness.
Celebrate the happiness, indeed. And thank you for being the guidance, Mr. J.
Yeah.
In what ways is the home we buy not just a place to live, but a statement about who we are, who we want to be, and the life we aspire to create?
Well, there are two ways to look at this. One is when you're buying, but I can get that answer even more when I see somebody who has lived in a home for 20 years and they have to leave. It's the memories. So, coming into your question, the home is a home where the children will grow. A home is a home where the marriage will flourish. A home is a home. In my case, my in this very room, now it's my office. My mom and dad came and stayed. This is my house. In this very room, to me, that was meaningful. Mom and dad stayed here. I gave them a place. Came from India, which I came from. A home can also mean that they achieved a goal, an, an intangible goal that becomes tangible. So it's the memories, and that becomes more profound when you have to leave them. It is very difficult when somebody has been in a home for 20, 25 years. And sometimes they're moving on for good reasons. The kids have graduated, or they're even going to usually to a bigger home is not an issue. But when there's a home where the kids grew up, it is very difficult. And I've seen people cry. So when I see that, to answer your question, there's a lot of your family, your memories, your life that goes into living in a home.
Living in a home. The process is known emotional roller coaster, Mr. J. What is the most common emotional low point for buyers, and what is the peak moment of joy that makes it all worthwhile?
Well, the low moment is when they realize that what they want is not within financial reach, because not everybody qualifies. Sometimes they will see these ads, and not I'm not saying ads are always deceptive. Sometimes they can be somewhat misleading, unfortunately, and they have a dream of certain size and a type of the home. And the low is when they feel they can't afford the one they really want. And then that's when I have to turn that around. I can't change the home, I can't change the financing, but maybe I can change the location. Sometimes, if you go 10 miles away, there's a different towns outside of Toronto called it's called the Greater Toronto Area. So my job as a realtor is to either, because I can't change their mind, but I can share with them that they can maybe adjust their expectations, or I can use my expertise to say, are you willing to travel 10 kilometers further? If it's an yes, then maybe distance from the main city makes a home lower in price. They can get more for their money. So that low turns into a high.
Grief for a future loss. Mr. J, is it
Yes.
common for buyers to experience a sense of grief or anxiety after their offer is accepted, mourning the other potential future and homes they are now closing the door on?
So, so the question again is, if you can rephrase that again,
Mhm.
please.
Well, if the buyers already closed the deal, what is the expectation?
Well, when they have closed the deal, their expectation is, I want to get in there as soon as possible. Or their expectation is, will the home be in the same shape when I'm going to close on it? Or nowadays, if they're buying a new home, a
Mhm.
brand new home in Canada, or a condo, the closing costs are quite high, because for a city like Toronto, which you can see in the background, to function, the only way they can, their biggest revenue is land development charges, not just the land transfer. So that can be 20, 15, 20, $25,000. So the low is, oh my gosh, I bought this. I also deal with new properties, condos and houses. Oh my gosh, I fear I bought this. I know the money is there, but what if? So those are the fears that one goes through.
Mr. Gay, how does the immense pressure of finding forever home create unnecessary stress, and how can we refrain it focus on the right home for the right now?
It causes extreme stress. And my job as the realtor is the human side, the emotional side, to be the calming factor in all of this. The clients can go up and down. If I go up and down with them, it is very bad for the client. The reason for my success is I am always the calming factor. So much so, I've had clients call me after the sale and say, Jay, I need to speak to you about something. And after some time, the actual words, he says, Jay, I'm talking to you, and your voice is so calm, it does something for my stress relief. That was a compliment to me, of course. But people do go through that, uh, ups and downs in the whole process of buying real estate, for whatever reason. Maybe the wife likes it, the husband doesn't, or they went to buy a home and the market was very hot. They found the perfect home, and then somebody comes and outbids it. So in that emotion, I have another job, Daniel,
Mm-hmm.
and that is to protect the client from themselves. Because if the emotion gets in the way too much, they forget about the pocketbook. I'm not saying it's my job to hold back every dollar, but it's also my job to keep the client within the guideline because I know, and that's my job. And even in the negotiation, if it's within reason, I can negotiate any deal. Even there's 10 offers, I knew what to do. But I also make sure it doesn't get out of hand.
Mm.
It doesn't get out of hand. And then that's why the clients love me because they would say, they would appreciate. And they just say, Jay, we found this. That's, you know what? At this point, it's okay to walk away. We will find the next one.
Mr. J, as a realtor expert, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
As a realtor and a professional, my short term goals was to help a lot of people to succeed in their financial dreams. And in doing so, I would achieve mine. And I did. I probably have to have helped over 2,000, 2,500 people in my life. But in the process of that, I bought my own home, the one that's this beautiful home I'm sitting in right now. But I also bought myself several investment properties, which have been a blessing to my family. I helped thousands and hundreds. And today, my family is also blessed. That's my short term. In my long term goal, now because Canada is so diverse. The laws are so different, say, from Alberta. I'm in Ontario, if you know or not. It's a state. In Toronto, you may have all heard of, say, Calgary and Edmonton. My long term goal is I'm helping people who can't afford a home in Toronto to find other markets. If they want to invest or live or do something of that nature, I'm helping them to still achieve their dream of owning a home or an investment, but finding other markets. So that's my long term because Toronto has become very expensive. How do we achieve the goal in spite of? An average person can't walk in like when I began, you could buy a home, it was 200,000. Today, a home is 1.2 million for a detached property, an average home and more. Someone coming in, it is impossible to get that unless you have someone like myself to guide them through the process.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. J, and looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
For those people that want to be like me, you have to be willing to burn the ships. You had to be willing to burn the ships and you had to be willing to help people. But when I say burn the ship, if you're coming into the world, whether you want to buy and own real estate, whether you want to be an agent, you have to not look behind you. In my case, I left a corporate job, a successful, comfortable corporate job. My own dad called me from India and said to me, You have an MBA, which I do. He says, keep the business part time. I said, Dad, I see the goal. And I went to, and I said, I'm going to do this no matter, no, with respect. I said, I'm going to achieve that. But I was willing, hear this, I was willing in my family and I to even drive a cab at night if that's what it took. So you have to be willing to do whatever it takes, without hurting your family, of course, to achieve the goal. And you do that, and I assure you, you will achieve your goal. That's my advice.
Thank you for that advice, Mr. J. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence you, Johnny?
A good book,
Yes, please.
okay. I would say a good book would be something like, it's all about the mindset, and I think it is the it's Think and Grow Rich, and the author is Earl Nightingale. It's an old book written like 30, 40 years ago. And the reason I was introduced to that by one of my mentors whom I trained. I've also been a real estate coach. I never got to mention that. Where I work for one of the leading coaches in the world. And that simple book will help her to understand some of the little principles of life and gold. For example, there was one story, and I'll done so Think and Grow Rich by Earl Nightingale. The book was, sorry, yes, it was Earl Nightingale. The book was this:
Is it not Dale Carnegie, Mr. J?
Think and Grow Rich. There is, by the way, I am a Carnegie expert. Just check and
Mm-hmm.
see. There was Earl Nightingale and there was Napoleon Hill. It was
Mm-hmm.
Think and Grow Rich.
Think and Grow Rich.
Think
Okay.
and Grow Rich. I believe it may have been. You can go back and just check the author's name. It's a thin book.
Okay, so thank you for that recommended book, Mr. J. And how do you balance your uh fiduciary duty to give sound financial advice with the need to honor the client's powerful and sometimes ecological emotional connection to a property?
How do you balance between, yes? So I guess is the question is, how do I balance my financial side and the clients, or the client's financial and their emotion, or
Yes,
all of the
please.
above? All
Yes.
of the above. So as a realtor, we live on a commission. The bigger the house, the more we get paid.
Okay.
But when you want to achieve the true goal, you should not look at the commission. You put the commission aside. You look purely upon the client and their best interest, and I mean that. And the money will follow you 100%. You move the money aside. You only focus on their good. You don't get them a home unless that's the one they want. You don't get them a deal because it's good for you. It has to be good for them. And the moment you stop that and you keep looking and the best interest of the client, that's when you win. And for the client, today in this economy, it's a lot easier because people are very much more frugal, much more careful. But before, when there was bidding wars going on, which was only about 3 to 4 years ago, people would go crazy and go pay 100, 200, 250,000 over asking to get a house. And it was my job to tell them, I really think beyond that point, it's not worth it. But that only comes from experience. You have to want, you should never want the deal bad enough yourself so that the client gets hurt. You have to always see it from the client's eyes, and the deals will come to you, and you will be blessed 10 times as more. That's my words of advice.
10 times, definitely 10 times. And I just want to clarify, people. I'm talking to How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And Mr. J talking about Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. And the other author, Mr. J.
Yes, sir. Oh,
Which the other author of Think and Grow Rich?
there was Napoleon Hill. There was an Earl Nightingale I was
Mm-hmm.
exposed to. Earl Nightingale was my mentor's mentor. And the
Mm-hmm.
story that I want to leave you with is this. I'm not leaving it, but is this in the books. There are little things and nuggets. Because the reason and this is so important, Daniel, I want to acknowledge you for asking about books, because
Yes.
books will expand your mind. You got
Yes,
that, you know that,
definitely.
right? Better than
Yes.
anybody, because that's what you're all about.
Mm-hmm.
When your mind expands, that's when you're able to see yourself buying that property, and God, however you want to see that, finds a way to achieve that goal. The story is this: being about 5 or 10 feet from gold, there was a man. He bought a gold mine from a farmer. He bought this gold mine, right? He bought this farm, and he was told that there is gold in it. And this person kept digging, digging, plowing, looking for gold. Years later, he never. It was there. He gave up, and he sold it. The next day, the people that bought it, Within a couple of weeks, they found the gold because the gold was just 5 or 10 feet away. So when you are working hard through all of this, remember, don't stop. Don't give up because you could be 5 feet away.
5 feet away. Definitely. And Mr. J, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well,
Wow.
geography 101, love letters, music, movie 101, and music 101 of fourth season, science 101, sex 101 second season, and my baby podcast Law 101, Mental Health 101, and Bible Verses 101. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. J, if you could have every home buyer remember one thing as they embark on their search, what would it be? And is the trust their gut or protect their heart or something else?
You know what? You have to have the faith. If you're a person of faith, you have to have faith in God. If you're a person that has faith in your family, you have to have the faith that if you have set the desire, you put the plan, you have to have the faith that you're going to get there. If you don't achieve a home, and also set a realistic goal. You shouldn't you come in and say, okay, I'm going to buy a home in 3 years of me coming to Canada. It didn't happen. Don't let that the dejection take you out. Keep at it. Financial things happen. You extend the term. Here's what I would say you do. If you're going to buy a house, you know what I did? I took a picture of the home. It was even smaller than the one I own today. And I put that in a book. I put the car in a book. And every day I prayed. And I looked at that and I go, one day, everything I'm going to do, I'm going to achieve that. Keep your dream alive. Keep your dream alive every morning and every evening. And then, just like myself, I'm sitting here, my family's downstairs, we have guests at home, I'm in my home. I kept my dream alive.
Empowering, empowering. Well, answer, Mr. J. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your business, your advocacy, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Well, whether you're in Canada or United States, I have gone into the world of multifamily residential properties as a where you can buy my current project is if you are Canadian, you can actually buy a multiplex with 5% down because the government is helping you to do that because they're going to use you and your properties for affordable housing. If you're an investor, I am now the certified specialist in multi-family residential. They can buy a 5-plex, a 10-plex, get a commercial mortgage, and own 10 units and be a landlord. In addition, if you don't have your own home, you want to extend it, that is the next level. So that's what our project I'm working on over and above. And you can reach me at 647-273-1119. And if you're looking for that dream home, every day of my life, I still help people buy and sell their own properties. I'm here to help you. And that number again is 647-273-1119. I would love to meet you.
Yes, people support Mr. J. Banerjee because if you support him for sure, more and more empowering homeowners will rise.
Yes.
So, Mr. J, thank you so much for your time.
Daniel, it was great to be here. Talk to you soon.
Yes, more to come, people. More to come, people. See you soon.